the Niners have been sniffing around rookie quarterbacks. What do you think? Is there a rookie quarterback? You know, to me, if you said, well, if they use the same kind of approach that they did with Brock Purdy, then who would they like? They probably would like Stetson Bennett, right? Because
Right.
what was Brock Purdy? He was undersized, but he was a 4-year starter. He had total command. No moment was too big for him. If you're looking for, hey, let's replicate that, maybe you like a Stetson Bennett.
What about a
If you're
DTR?
if you,
Five
yeah, I was going to
years.
say DTR played 6 years at UCLA. So he has another guy with great experience, huge, long college resume to make mistakes and develop. DTR is a far better player today than he was 3 years ago. So he played extensively in college. Then we saw Lynch on the sideline at the Stanford Pro Day watching Tanner McKee.
Right.
Then there's, Jake Hayner, whose, mom is Julie Hayner from Channel 2. Jake Hayner played incredible football for Fresno State, had a long, illustrious career in the Valley, and then was the MVP of the Senior Bowl. So, and Hayner's kind of like Purdy, smaller guy, but a pretty good arm. So I don't know. What would you say if you were saying which rookie, then there's talk that um, Logan Bonner from Utah State. They went out and met with Logan Bonner, who didn't,
They
had
some
some injuries, but he's like 6'1", 220. Um, Another guy, a little bit shorter, but he's got a pretty good arm. What do you think? Is there a rookie quarterback? One, do you envision them drafting a rookie quarterback, signing a rookie quarterback? And which one do you think is the perfect fit for their third job
Yeah, it's funny you bring
or
up.
maybe fourth job?
It's funny because the last name you brought up, right? I watched, I think, 8 or 9 quarterbacks this draft, which is like the most I've ever watched in a draft, and I didn't watch it. Like somehow they meet with, I've watched 9 quarterbacks in this draft, and they didn't meet with them. But so of the names you mentioned, they're all intriguing. I think the depth in this quarterback position in general is pretty intriguing because there's quite a few guys that have starter talent that are probably going to go in day 3, but they have an opportunity maybe 3 years down the road if everything goes right. Perhaps they're a starter. Who knows? I think the issue I have with both Tanner McKee and Jake Hayner, I think first with Hayner, like if you're talking about just like the film, Larry, in terms of like playing the quarterback position, like playing with timing, playing with anticipation, throwing with accuracy, all of that, I think Jake Hayner is probably, one of the best watches in the entire draft. The issue I have is Jake Hayner looks like he's running in quicksand all the time. He is very, very slow footed. And that's when you bring up like the Brock Purdy comparison, Brock Purdy's athleticism, I think, was the one thing that everybody didn't know was this much. That he had this much movement to him, he had this much quickness to him. Jake Hayner is the exact opposite. He's very slow footed. And so I that's a concern for me right there with him. Same thing with Tanner McKee. The movement and the mobility. I mean, if we're talking about an offense that, we want to get away from Jimmy Garoppolo and get back to play action, get back to boots, all these different things that came back into this offense with Brock Purdy, you want guys that have the athleticism to be able to do that. And both of those guys, I'm not sure if they have that athleticism. For me, Dorian Thompson Robinson is probably my favorite day 3 quarterback. I think they should draft one regardless. I think Thompson Robinson's actually a good fit. He's played a lot. He's good throwing short, intermediate. He's got a cannon of an arm, and he's a very good athlete. So there's potential there for him to be further than the player he is because he's got, an NFL caliber arm or an above average NFL arm, and he's an above average NFL athlete. Like those two things will give him a chance. But he's my favorite of the day 3 guys for sure.
Which
I
guy?
think Dorian
Hayner?
Thompson
Oh,
Robinson.
DTR,
But
DTR.
I like Hayner too. I like McKee to an extent. Clayton Tune has some talent too. So there's a few guys there, Larry. I think they should take a quarterback. They have to. This is not the kind of draft like you can't just sit here and tell me you're happy with Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, and that's just going to be your quarterback room. I feel like every draft you just got to take a guy and develop him. Look, you hit a home run with Brock Purdy in the 7th round. Why not take another chance on a day 3 guy? It's the quarterback position. It's the most important position. Bill Walsh used to say you should draft a quarterback every year. Every
He's
year.
right. Yeah.
Belichick used to draft a quarterback. Belichick has drafted a quarterback every year. So I think they should draft one regardless. And DTR would be my pick of those guys because it's something you mentioned earlier, right? You mentioned you don't want quarterbacks drafted that can develop into being backups. You want guys with the talent to be starters. If we're looking at day 3 in this draft, to me, DTR is the one guy I would say that has the most talent to be the starter because the arm is much stronger than a Hayner, than even a Tanner McKee, than a Clayton Tune, and then he's a better athlete than all those guys by a pretty considerable amount as well.
All right. I've thought a lot about this. Stetson Bennett really is polished, and there's a lot to like about him. But sub 6 feet. I kind of wonder about just his ability to operate in the NFL. Tanner McKee is 6'6", 225, throws strikes, has huge arm talent. I mean, this guy's got arm talent. I mean, when I say
Yeah, I
arm talent, this
agree.
guy's this guy's got like Joe Flacco kind of a. This guy can wing it. I mean,
I don't know if
this
it's as
guy.
strong as Flacco. It might be more Mike Glennon than Flacco there.
No, I like the arm of McKee, man. He can zip the out like it's just unbelievable. He throws lasers to the sideline. I don't know if it's because he's 6'6", Vish, or what, but I mean this guy just throws the ball awesome. I mean,
He's
he
a
really
throwback,
throws.
right? He's a
The only
throwback
thing is
watch. This is like
he's just
1990s I formation, big
he
quarterback that doesn't
yeah,
move a lot, that stands in the pocket, looks to throw it. Yeah.
but the thing is, he doesn't move around well enough, and I think movement ability is a must. The athletes are too fast on defense in the NFL. I don't really believe that there's a whole nother generation of guys who can't move. One of the things that makes Purdy is that it's that 10-yard split. It's that
Right.
escapability. He moves exceptionally well. I really like Clayton Tune, the intangibles, everything he's done, but I think there's a big transition there. I love DTR for the experience, and I really think DTR is going to have a decent NFL career. And Jake Hayner is a winner. He's cocky. He's Aiden O'Connell. I think is a smart player, but also kind of a pocket player. But
With
I'll tell you
Hayner,
the
the slow footedness comes right back there, right? Like that's another
he's
one. Like he's slow footed.
He's also kind of has bad mechanics at times. He throws off his back foot. He floats balls down the field. But also, I don't know. To me, personality wise, he's such an alpha guy that I don't know that he can come in and be respectful and just sit there and take no reps. And you know what I mean? I think it would just
Hmm.
grind him down, which is good and bad, right? That you don't want guys who are just going to be happy being backups. But at the same time, how's he going to fit in the room if he's just creating all this havoc as the last guy on the depth chart? I like Malik Cunningham from Louisville because
I
when I
know.
watch Cunningham throws it well. He moves better than DTR. He moves better than Tune. Like some of those Tune, I think, and DTR are the guys who move the best on this list. But I think Cunningham moves better than both of them. He throws a really nice ball. I like Cunningham. I like Cunningham as a developmental guy. I think when you see him run, it's like, oh my god, he's a ridiculous runner. I mean, but he also has a good enough arm to like stand there in the pocket and deliver bombs down the field. He's you know he's I don't want to say he's Lamar because Lamar is 6'3". Lamar also is a little bit more of an amazing open field runner, where this guy's just has great speed. He doesn't have the moves of Lamar, but the speed, the arm strength, the capability to make plays out of structure. I like Malik Cunningham, and the other thing is DTR is going to probably go in the third round, fourth round.
You
The
think
Niners
so?
don't have a ton of needs. Yeah, I don't think he's going to go late. I think he's going to go higher. The more I
Okay.
look at him, and McKee, I think is going to go in the second round or third round. I think Tune's going to go second round or third round. I just think that when you look at the needs for the 49ers, there's enough of them that are more important than the next quarterback who's going to. And also, I think the kind of player that they're going to have is probably going to have to be on the practice squad, and so it can't. It's got to be a player that's not quite as good. You're not necessarily
Right.
looking for the
Right.
best
Right.
player. You're looking for the player that can fit the spot that you have to
Right.
offer.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I think Cunningham would be perfect in the Niners scheme as as a developmental player who's got huge upside, starter potential.
He just doesn't feel like a Shanahan quarterback to me. Like I feel like DTR when we talk about him, I'm actually with you. To me, his talent is the guy who should go in the third or fourth round. I don't exactly know how that projection is working. I know a lot of people were saying sixth round pick earlier in the process, but he's more talented than a sixth round guy. I think the issue is Cunningham is so raw in terms of being able to play from the pocket and all of that. I can't remember any quarterback other than RG3 really that Shanahan has drafted that didn't have, some sense of they've played in a pro style offense and have had some success playing from the pocket and playing, what Shanahan calls the right way. Like I can't remember them ever even considering a quarterback from that standpoint. And it feels like Shanahan has always been so anti that. And then let alone the fact, Larry, I don't remember the last quarterback Shanahan has taken that has that skill set, or if he's ever taken one and refined it. He usually likes quarterbacks that have, a basic rudimentary skill set to be able to run his offense. Now, that guy might not be the most talented guy in the world, but that guy usually is pretty accurate, short, intermediate. He's pretty poised in the pocket. He's pretty tough. He processes the right way. He's able to get you in and out of the right checks based on, when you motion, if they shift over a gap and you need to, change the run play, a lot of stuff like that. So, Malik Cunningham just feels so far away from
I
that
think he,
style of it.
it's funny. I think you, as listening to you describe that, I think he can do all those things.
You think
I think,
so?
yeah, I do. I really do. Now, I don't think he can do them day one as a starter, but I
Well,
think
and
potentially he can do them.
which is the quarterback that Shanahan has gotten to do those things though yet?
Well, I mean, I just think that when you look at, quarterbacks, I mean, and it may not be Cunningham, it may be like Bonner because Bonner also, I think, moves pretty well. But I think mobility is going to be something that I would prioritize. And by
Uh-huh.
the time that I think the 49ers will be looking for that quarterback, it may be after the draft. So, like a lot of these guys that I do like all those guys we talked about, McKee, Bennett, Hayner,
You just think they'll
Toon,
go too early for the
I
49ers, and
think
the
they'll all be
49ers don't need
gone.
to look
Yeah.
at quarterback that early. Like we're
Yeah.
talking seventh round pick, your later picks, once you've drafted that right tackle, that safety. You're right. Okay, that's fair.
I just think that they may be looking at Bonner and Malik Cunningham types, and I like those two guys.